All right, let's go ahead and get started finally.
Yeah, they just swap position on the map. So, can I take it off from here and start it off with introductions, my friend?
Of course, of course.
We're in the bottom right hand corner of Death Aura, where the red Zerg is taking his position, spawning here. Play for Kazi Gaming, it's Solar.
And spawning here at the top left is the blue Terran player. Hailing from Korea and representing Brave Star Gaming, give it up for Dream. All right, Death Aura, TVZ to start off. Yeah. And we do see, of course, Solar keeping up with his scout. I gotta say, the past few times that I've been casting Solar, he has been really diligent on his scouting. Sometimes even sending a scouting drone out in the field along with those two overlords scouting on the kind of the further outskirts of the map.
Yeah, he's kind of like adapting to his weaknesses. He's covering any potential proxy racks, which is something that Dream likes to do a lot, especially in the beginning of the series. Dream is one of those players who can proxy racks you even twice in a row. And Solar, let's just say, is not the best Zerg in the world at defending proxy racks. He kind of loses against it a lot. It's a very difficult hold, especially against players such as Dream, Maru, players who can perform that kind of build perfectly. But Solar really has a very low win rate against proxies.
Yeah, I'm surprised not more Terrans proxy him. But yeah. Again, like he has been trying to adapt to his weakness, making sure that at the very least the game lasts more than 5 minutes. But we do see on this map though, there are two potential third bases. So Solar, having one of his third bases, will take the other one. In the meantime, Reaper will go ahead and dive in here, almost get one of the Zerglings, but with some nice pullback, Solar will be able to save the majority of his, basically all his lings.
I like how he positioned his Crypt Tumor a little bit further back. Since he was a little bit afraid of losing Zerglings for free, he decided to keep the creep a little bit slower, but saving the Crypt Tumor is of course going to be the most important thing. And having this third base here on the triangular pattern, it will actually make it way worse against any kind of drop play. So I suppose Dream will try to go for an early drop.
Well, interestingly enough, yeah,
that works as well.
Yeah, definitely. Those battle cruisers can fly kind of through the third base as well as the main base, back and forth. But before we get into that, two Hellions will dive in here onto the natural. Let's see how many drones he can get.
Yeah, 3 drones for 2 Hellions and 4 Zerglings. Come on. That's gotta be a very good trade for Dream. Solar is gonna make a Roach Warrior now. He's probably afraid of more Hellions coming. Of course, when you see just 2 Hellions diving in, you're gonna think something is a little bit off. Especially since he didn't really have a lot of scouting. His overload was shoot away. But actually he saw the fusion core. Wait a second. Yeah, he saw the fusion core.
No, I do. Sometimes you see the Terran player dive in with 4 health.
Did he click on the structure? Because he's not making any spore colors and he knows there's a fusion core there.
Let's see. Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe. Sometimes you send in, but you don't pay attention. So even though you spot it, you don't really actually see it because you're like focusing on microwing your lings or your queens or something else. But Solar, he's actually, I think because he scouted it, he has opted to go for a aggressive kind of push But actually, it's going to be a fake push because only 3 roaches are out in the field. So he's kind of forcing Dream to maybe overreact a little bit. But Dream looks to be on top of it as he has got the battle cruisers up and running or about to pop out, as well as a bunch of Hellions for any massling aggression.
Maybe wanted to keep the Hellions or the battlecruiser back at home for Dream, but adapting will work only with 4 roaches. There's a Spire coming, there are Spore Callers, finally almost 2 for each base, and Solar is getting in a good spot. He needs to lose very little now though. These Hellions won't get much leverage here on this base, but the battlecruiser is starting his mission against the Zerg player. One of the queens already very bruised, the one who moved the energy, gonna fall down to the battlecruiser. Second queen, also very bruised, there's coming an Strength Fusion over here. And the battlecruiser will just retreat here in the bottom right. Hellions still trying to find a way to dive in, while the battlecruiser doesn't want to lose too much energy. There's just 1 queen killed, not the worst at this moment. A couple drones, yes, but this battlecruiser won't get much more.
Yeah, I think that's the reason why a lot of Terran players don't go for battlecruisers as much these days, because Zerg has really adapted and has gone for a lot of queens in the early games to defend against things like battlecruiser, rush, as well as Hellion. And the Hellions will go ahead and potentially get a lot of drones here at the dirt. Oh my goodness!
Yeah, that's a big barbecue for Dream. Solar is gonna lose half of his economy basically in an instant. Lucky for him, he was at a very good work account, but 23 drone loss is not something you can shake it off that easily. There's also a second battlecruiser incoming. These aliens are diving back again. Corruptors, of course, yeah, Corruptors are gonna deal with the battlecruiser, but these aliens are causing a record here in the base of Solar. 36 drones. Oh my friend, that's way too many losses. 36 drones down, yeah. It gotta be a GG call by the Zerg player. That was a disaster from Solar.
Absolutely. Oh my god, that was basically drone barbecue.
Wow.
Oops, let's go ahead and place your webcam there.
I really think that that Solar can do way better than he did in this first game. His second map choice will be Jagannatha. So we're gonna go on a little bit of a bigger map, even with acceleration zones, yes, but this map is fairly big. And it's really like heartbreaking to see Solar play lose against earlier timing attacks, because he used to be one of the Zerg players who really didn't break a sweat against this kind of stuff. And in the last year or so, he started to lose more and more against Terran in these scenarios. And here, like, Death Aura is a very good Fusion Core map, very good Battlecruiser Rush map for many reasons. But I gotta say that Solar was looking clean in the defense until he wasn't, right?
Yeah.
So just one slip and everything goes awry. Here on Jagannatha, a little bit harder, longer map. I think it's a good choice to get your foothold back into the series.
Of course, Jagannatha, probably one of the hardest, if not the hardest map to pronounce currently in the ladder pool. I've heard so many pronunciation of it. I think at this point, nobody really cares, and they just go with whatever it is that is pronounced.
It happened similar with Acropolis. Most people were pronouncing it, even Artosis and Tasteless were saying Acropolis, which is kind of bad. Like, trust me, I studied ancient Greek and it's Acropolis, so yeah. But let's go here on Jagannatha, where the second set of this best of 9 is about to be played, spawning in the bottom left-hand corner. Waiting for Kazi Gaming, trying to get back into the series. It's Solar.
And spawning here at the top right is the red Terran player from Brave Star Gaming, looking to bring out a little bit of a cheese. It is a Dream.
Once again, Solar quick scouting. He's gonna make sure to see this proxy incoming. Let's see if Dream is able to save the second SCV. Oh, he looks like he won't save it. There's already 2 more SCVs incoming here, but Solar is buying a lot of time right now. The first Rax is gonna be completed basically perfectly on time, but any damage on this SCV is gonna last. And this second Rax being slightly late, it's gonna be a big victory for Solar. It's gonna send also another drone. Oh, wait a second. Okay, another SCV goes down. There's another trying to retake the work at this Rex. Rex is gonna finish. But yeah, these SCVs are very bruised.
Yeah.
I don't see them successfully making any bunkers. And oh, Dream. That's a bad rally. Oh. That's a bad rally for Dream. Yeah, okay. He needs to lift and land a Rex to free that Marine, but there's already an archery up here. There are already Zerglings incoming. I see this bunker being made. Really complete. I really wish Solar would pull some SCVs. Yeah, here they come. A lot of Zerglings are already being made. And yeah, I really doubt Dream is gonna make anything out of this. Beautiful kiting from Dream over here. Solar kind of forgetting about the bunker. But in the end, oh, wait a second. Oh, wait a second. Yeah, Dream completes the bunker. That was a big mistake from Solar. And let's go back to what I said in game 1. Solar does have a very bad win rate against these kind of builds. And here Dream, completely against the odds, is gonna complete that bunker, fill it up with Marines, and there's already a second one incoming. Tons and tons of lanes are in the production tab for Solar, but it's gonna be very hard for him to break this nonetheless. He's gonna take some losses. He needs to save that archery. And here comes the Zerglings. The SCV needs to go inside of the... Actually, the SCV died to the Queens. No salvage over here. There's a bunch of Marines, though. The hatchery is saved for now. But Solar needed to take some losses. He's not collecting any gas. A Queen actually is falling right now. And this hatchery is once more in real serious trouble. There's another Queen incoming. There's many more lanes incoming. But Holy Books is on the way as well. These Marines cannot get way closer than this. There's a transfusion on this Queen ready to transfuse the archery if it's needed. A tons of links with metabolic boost means these Marines are basically just dead. The bunker is up there. Solar doesn't really want to take any more losses. He wants to break reinforcements from coming. But that's a good positioning over here. Marine will stay in between those Rexes and just avoid the Zerglings completely.
Yeah,
Alright, it's a fold. But it was a pricey one.
Yeah, for sure. I think he could have held it a lot easier if he had just targeted on that initial bunker. Could you imagine if that first bunker didn't even go up? Like, this would have been so different. And it's unfortunate because he did scout the proxy pretty early on and actually slowed it down. Got even, I think, 2 SCVs for it while it was making the barracks. But anyhow, Ling's gonna dive in here on top of the bunkers. First bunker, another bunker go down. The last bunker does go down, and Solar will hold.
It's gonna be a hold, yes, but I don't see him moving out too early since Hellions are already a factor here. There's already an armory as well, so a Hellbot push could be the next thing from Solar. From Dream, sorry. And Dream doesn't have a second base. He's kind of doubling it down at this stage. It doesn't really want Solar to stabilize. He wants to keep on going. So, props to him actually to have stubbornly, I'd say, he kept on going on with his push, even if he was scouted. And now he's going in again. And this is not gonna be very easy for Solar. Not at all. That's a ton of Hellbats.
Yeah, this is pretty much just last ditch effort. There's no second command center, as you said. Roaches are about to pop out, and this spine call is actually going to be really helpful in at least prolonging it so that his roaches can finally join into the fight.
Every single last of the transfuses has been used on the spine crawler. Spine crawler goes down, but it work goes for Dream. The archery is still up, and I think this is gonna be GG anytime soon. Completely cleared. The Medivac survives and goes away, but Dream knows better and to go on with this game. Solar will tie up the series with a shaky defense.
Yeah, I think you know, like you pointed out earlier, Solar not the greatest against proxies, but I think you know the scenario did favor him. He did scout it early on, and that's the most important thing, so that he can prepare for it. Almost let it go, but in the end, it all worked out. He was just barely able to clean that up and hold, and after that, it was pretty much his game to lose.
Yeah, the second hold was a little bit harder, to be completely fair. Like, it wasn't a very easy way to hold. Like, Solar had all the right calls, the spine crawler in a good position, Queen's very well positioned before the push could initiate, and the Lynx just went around the Elbats. So Solar had a perfect defense at the second all-in. The first one, though, he really needs to work better on his proxy.
All right, let's go ahead and get this started. Game number 3 on Submarine LE.
And in the top left-hand corner is the blue Zerg playing for Kaizi Gaming. Wants to take another map, get the momentum going, and get ahead in this best of 9. It is Solar.
And spawning here at the bottom right is the red Terran player representing Team Brave Star Gaming. It is Dream.
So, who first from Solar? He's adapting.
Maybe he's afraid. Well, actually, maybe he can put on some pressure because, you know, in this map that is pretty small, you can kind of circumvent your lings around the Reaper. And then, as the Reaper is on your side of the base, you can kind of hopefully stop and delay their command center that is building at the bottom. But I think a lot of Terrans has kind of been wary of that, so they actually built their command center at the top in the main base instead. And so we'll see if Dream does build his command center at the low ground or the high ground. Looks like he's sending the SCV down there, so he's going to go ahead and make it at the low ground. And if these lings can scoot around and the Reaper does make his way across the map and not stay at home, then we might actually see that CC being delayed.
I think as soon as he sees those Zerglings, I don't even think he's going to send the Reaper out. That will be a massive misplay. Not keeping this Reaper up? Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, that is trust me, this is a massive misplay coming from Dream. You witness your, yeah, okay, he's not gonna send it out. You witness your opponent going for a pull first. You just don't send your Reaper out. You keep it home and you make sure you're ready to defend your command center. It looks like Solar is not really sending a ton of Zerglings, but there is already one on the way. Okay, he started producing Marines as soon as possible. He's gonna delay his build in favor of his scouting, which is another decent way to hold this. But yeah, he made 2 Marines early, he made a bunker just to save this command center, where all he needed to do really was keep the Reaper home.
Yeah, so far so good. Both players playing really well. I mean, yes, Dream was able to, you know, defend his command center, but Solar, on the other hand, he's been able to safely take that third base relatively in a nice time. But link speed has finished, so this Reaper is probably gonna fall down here right now.
Yeah.
All that grenade popping in the air.
I mean, I get it. Dream has defended his command center. He's got the scouting, but I didn't really like the way he did that. I think it was way too expensive for him to do that. Okay, he got 3 links. Like, it's almost even in the resources lost tab. It's the early game. The most important thing is not to delay your build. And Solar is just actually speed running through his build. He had a very early third actually. He was already in a good amount of workers. And I like how Dream wants to shake this off. Banshee and Cloak. That's a very good way to get some real aggression going. And the third command center? Yeah, that's some good calls from Dream.
Yeah, he even actually sent the barracks over to the cliff area to take out that Overlord, to make sure that Overlord does not have any way of scouting inside his base, scouting that Banshee tag, the Cloak, as well as the fast third base. But yeah, if Solar does not scout this and prepare for this soon, well, actually, you know, he's doing a kind of a blind Spore Crawler, so just some safety Spore Crawlers just in case, and that should definitely help against the Banshee defense.
Yeah, Dream kind of getting Steam and Banshee Cloak and the third base at the same time is a little bit all over the place, but I do like his approach to this series. This is Submarine. Banshees are very good here, so are early Steam pushes. So he's gonna get the best that his race can get here on this map. And while he's doing that, he's just gonna expand. So he's not really hard committed into this, but he kind of wants to get some damage done. Because Solar is one of those players who can snowball an advantage very, very fast. Good kills here on the crit tumors. Keeping the crit at bay will be a very important thing since the map is very short. And these aliens already proving to be quite the problem for Solar.
Yeah, sometimes on this map, it's not actually too surprising to see queens make their way, walking across the map, going for joining up with a timing attack of some sort. So kind of creeping the creep at bay, making sure that it doesn't extend towards his side of the map. That's definitely going to help in future engagements. But in the meantime, we do see the 2 Banshees here. We'll go ahead and take a few drones here and there. Not a lot. Well, actually, it's kind of actually piling up a little bit here, up to 5. And most importantly, does save those 2 Banshees.
Yeah, I have to say this is a very, very good execution from Dream. Like getting 9 drones, 10 drones out of these 2 Banshees, while there were 3 Spore Crawlers and an Overseer and 5 Queens ready to defend. That's some solid damage coming from Dream. And yes, his third up and running Zerglings weren't able to deny it. And Solar kind of has a very good answer to what Dream is doing. 12 mutas on the way. It's gonna be a close one from here on.
Yeah, it looks like Dream is going to go ahead and repair his Banshees and then possibly go out for a secondary attack. He is sending his army across the map here. Interesting enough, he did not send his Hellions, so maybe it's just a kind of a small push to frighten the Zerg into making units instead of drones, but he's got to be careful. He's going to get surrounded here. Oh my goodness.
That's some beautiful play coming from Solar. Getting this around, saving all of his queens against those tanks. That was crazy. And now these mutas are just flying to get some damage. Dream with some very good scouting saw the mutas coming, and he decided to back away at the right moment. He has already missile turrets back home to defend against those mutas. But once +1 kicks in and more mutas are on the menu, it's gonna be way, way harder for Dream to actually do anything against this. There's a bunch of aliens. Those lanes are not gonna have an easy life over there. And Dream is actually trying to make a stand over here. But you know what? Aliens don't shoot up. And mutas are still up and standing. At top, they can get so many Marines right now. With the Medivac out as well, these mutas are really overcommitting, I think. Almost all of them survived with red and yellow elf. That was a little bit crazy from Solar. But in the end, The Blizzard is really making an effort here to make Dream's life a mess. The last one is about to kick in. 5 more mutas incoming. Gas income from Solar is through the roof one right now. 1k gas income per minute. It's already devastating production from Solar, while Dream has to save his own production against this flock of mutas. Zerglings are destroying the economy in the meanwhile, and Banshees don't kill Zerglings very fast. Dream get to call the GG, and Solar, beautiful execution of a beautiful, beautiful build.
Yeah, I was a little bit surprised because usually Mutalisk that early does not tend to do that many damage, but I mean he made an optimal amount of Mutalisk to just like overwhelm even the Marine count. I think in the middle of the fight, you were like, "Oh, maybe he's overextending his Mutalisk,"
Yeah.
and I was thinking the same. Is he gonna just lose his Mutalisk? Because a lot of them were in red life. There were a lot of injured Mutalisk, but he had just enough to just overwhelm, and you're just getting on top of all the Marines that were popping out of those barracks, and that was just well done, kind of overwhelming the Terran there.
Yeah, whenever you see mutas fighting a main Terran army, you get a little bit of a shiver, right? Like, mutas are not supposed to fight a main army without +2. And, like, even making that call was something, like, personally, I would never have done that. And that's why players such as Solar are so strong. They have some really, really quick and good decisions, and that was one of them. Really estimating the Terran army perfectly and getting a great engagement. But let's get into game number 4 of this series. This guy, the Blizzard, is ahead 2-1 in this best of 9 series. Starting from a bad disadvantage after game 1, he's looking strong and ready to take off the series. Playing for KT Gaming, it is Solar.
And spawning here at the top right is the red Terran player with a nice comfortable 2-1 lead, looking to extend it to 3-1. Can he do it? From Brave Star Gaming, it is a dream. Now, we did see in the chat area Bitterwood saying Solar is good, so good, definitely tier 1 material. And I have to say that Solar, he's been competing in GSL Code S for quite some time. I mean, even in basically every kind of Korean tournament and events he's been, relatively a part of, and he has done he's achieved a lot of great success. I think we're still waiting for him to kind of have his breakout, true breakout moments, because he has so many years under his belt where he was considered one of the best Zergs out there, either tier 1 or tier 2. He's been teetering between. I think he has some great results here and there, but hasn't been all too consistent. So I would love to see Solar get some kind of a streak of consistent great results.
Solar is a very clever player. Most of all, he's one of those players who will evaluate its scenarios in a very quick and decisive manner, and will have some interesting builds. But he fairly is fairly weak against some precise meta calls. Like, every single time there was a meta call from Terran or Protoss players in some early timings, he always struggled. And players such as TY and players such as Trap have pretty much always been his bane, and it blocked him a lot in his past achievements. And gotta say the same about Rogue, which is a very similar player as Solar, but is just a tiny bit better. So the success that Solar will get was actually taken by Rogue at his place. So yeah, he's a bit of an unlucky player. He's not the most lucky person alive, but he's still a very, very good player who, even if overshadowed by some of these better Korean Zergs, he's still one of those players who can easily get to the finals of a GSL Codex tournament.
Yeah, I mean, even during the group stage of GSL, he's usually the one that maybe is not favored, but somehow, some way, he actually comes out first in the group, from time to time. So it's like he's one of the players where, yeah, he's not like the absolute clear favorite, but he's also very dangerous. So you don't want to take him for granted.
The problem with Solar is that he's not very clean with his executions. Like sometimes he slips off, and in a tournament such as GSL Codes, where you cannot really lose more than one game at any stage, it really, really makes it a lot harder for him to progress. And he actually does better in Korean tournaments. Oh, this is a lot of aliens diving in with a Power Cruiser incoming on the menu. You don't really want to take any damage. There's a Roach Warrior immediately started by Solar to save a drone as well. 5 drones will go down, 8 actually, and counting. These queens are trying to do their best.
Oh my.
Oh yeah, that's a big, big barbecue. And Dream, yeah, this game is already in the bag. GG gets cold. Yeah, I was telling this like 30 seconds ago, he kind of sleeps off a little bit too often. This is the kind of game you cannot afford to lose in a GSL environment. And he does lose in this way a lot.
Oh man, Dream, he was not hungry after that first game, because after all the barbecue drones, you would think he was full after that first game, but nope. This third game, he was still hungry and got some additional Korean barbecue drones. GG, yeah. And Dream will go up 3-1.
That's, I will call it a convincing victory, but I think we still have to see the best of both these players. We're going on map number 5 here on Lightshade, and I hope both players kind of get that early game a little bit more cleanly than they did in the first 4 games.
Yeah, hopefully.
I mean, those were very entertaining games. Mark my word. Like, I enjoy these games a lot. But I have to say both players kind of played very unclean. It's the 5th set of this best of 9 series. The score is tied 2-2. Let's see.
3-1, right? Because Dream won the last. Oh wait, did I get the score wrong?
Yep, it's 2 even.
Didn't Dream go up 2-1, and then won the last game?
No. Solar won against Dream, holding the proxy, and then won with the Muda play. So
right. Sorry, got the wrong score before. Anyhow, let's go ahead and introduce our lovely players.
We're in the top left-hand corner, where the blue Zerg is spawning, playing for Kaizi, gaining and trying to get at match point. Well, not match point actually. Well, get the advantage. It is Solar.
And spawning here at the bottom right, the red Terran player from Korea, as well as Bravestar Gaming. It is Dream.
I'm surprised Solar didn't go for a pull first on Lightshade as well. This is another of the Shoda's map. And like I was already thinking it was kind of a mistake on Submarine to not go for not Submarine, sorry, on Pillars of Gold to not go for that. But you know, Pillars of Gold is a very big map, so it's fine. But here on Lightshade, Dream can do very good things if he decides to rush anything.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Dream did pull out a proxy cheese if it does extend later on into the series. In the best of 9, which is a pretty long series to begin with, you definitely have to repeat some sort of build out of the gate, because just of the sheer amount of games that could potentially happen. So we'll see if Dream decides to pull out that proxy cheese again.
I really like the save of Solar to that drone in the fur base location, and now he's starting an extractor back again. As soon as he sees the Reaper backing off from his natural, he's gonna take the perfect hit tumor. Oh, he's actually gonna get an inject, which also makes a lot of sense. And now the Queen is gonna make his way over here to stop the Reaper from getting the drone before he can turn into an actual. It's over.
Yeah, it's like the Reaper wanted to go on a date with that drone, and the Queen is like the parent of the drone, saying, "Hey, shoo away! You can't date my daughter here."
That's a fairly visual kind of metaphor.
Now the father joins, not the father, the mother joins in.
Yeah. Oh, the Reaper. Oh.
Jesus, he's like pulling close to death.
Oh my. Yeah. Yeah, spread your creep, guys. Alright. Looks like the Reaper safe. Now Dream is gonna go for a fusion core again. He's gonna for 6 aliens or maybe 8 aliens again. And if Solar loses 3 times against this same build, I swear if he doesn't start a spawning pool first in next game, I'm gonna go mad. Like this is not easy to hold. Mark my word. This is fairly hard to hold, but Solar has all the right skill set to deal with this perfectly. He needs to scout. There's an overload with overload speed, actually getting into the main of Dream, which is already a very good move. But these aliens are starting to clump up outside his boundaries. Queen's trying to take the fight to the aliens. They're already circling, spread around, trying to get this around, and this time these aliens cannot dive in crazily. Fur base is not saturated. There's not much over here, and it looks like Solar finally got a clean defense. Maybe not. Oh, spooky. Those aliens are diving in again. There's a Queen ready to make a wall off if needed. Oh, they are trying to dive in. That's a little bit of a way too brave dive in from Dream. He's gonna lose basically almost all of his aliens. Yeah, that was definitely a misplay coming from the Terran player. Like slightly before the battle cruiser is chiming in.
Now, the Overlord actually did not scout the fusion core. He did scout the starport with the tech lab though, so that kind of, I think, it should hint that it is battlecruiser, just because that starport was not researching or building anything out of it, and no cloak was being researched. So the first battlecruiser will be teleporting across into the main base, but there are so many Queens out here that I just don't see this getting too much done.
Yeah, 2 drones are down as well as a Queen, but there's already a sparring coming. Another extractor is soon to be made. The roaches are on the way, and Solar, aside from getting the tech lab next to the starport, he also got vision of these 2 factories being made. He knows he's playing against mech, and he will start to react to it as quick as possible. Roach production is a very good thing, and catching these aliens in the open, ooh, that was not what Dream wanted. But you know what? He kept his battlecruiser alive. He's making another one. He has his fur base up and going, and Solar kind of needs some damage here.
Yeah, Roach is taking the brute force of these Hellions, but there's so many Hellions here that he might actually be able to fight against the Roaches with just those Hellions. But battlecruisers will join into the fight, should be able to clean this up and finally mine off of that third base there.
That was some very good trade from Solar, in my opinion, buying so much time for the Corruptors to be out, and once the Corruptors are out, basically the battlecruisers are basically they stop existing. They just do not matter anymore. Corruptors are just way too good against battlecruisers. They kill them so fast. Yamato Cannon can get a couple Corruptors, yes, but that's not a price Dream is willing to pay. And now the Corruptors are done. You see Solar, well, you see Dream trying to get something before teleporting out. He gets a Corruptor, but as you can see, these battlecruisers clearly cannot take any damage. Oh, another Yamato Cannon, and another teleport. That's some cheap damage. You get some Corruptors, but you know what? Soul doesn't really care at this stage. He has a very good economy as well.
Yeah, as we look at the income graph here, we do see that Solar did get a big jump, but all of a sudden Dream has kind of lift off. It might be because of the drop down of the mules, but I think it's pretty relatively even game at this stage.
Yeah, it is. Dream is gonna try to probably turtle a bit until he has +2/+2, and at that stage, a +2/+2 timing can be fairly powerful. Solar does want to win the game before that. With Roaches and Ravagers, you kind of have a little bit of a timer in your build. Corruptors, of course, are gonna deal with these battlecruisers so quickly, but I actually think Solar made a little bit too many of them. I'm starting to think he actually is wasting a little bit of supply on these Corruptors. How many battlecruisers are out? 3 of them. Yeah, these Corruptors are gonna win the battle against them, while Ravagers can also pile the battlecruisers down. But you know what? The main army of Dream is not that strong. He has a very good tank spread. Oh, Yamato Cannon goes on 2 of the Corruptors, teleporting backwards. These the battlecruisers. Now that Solar is maxed out, we're gonna see a big battle. Okay, Widowman cannot do much over here. This phase will never be dropped. But Dream is totaling as well as I was supposing him to do. These Ravagers going a little bit too forward, almost falling into a couple tanks. And you know what? Nothing happened.
Yeah, so hard to break a mech army, especially with that kind of setup. Look at that, kind of that like wall of a supply depot, engineering bay, and turrets, and then in the back line, the siege tanks. It's really difficult and scary to push up that ramp there. So Solar is going to have to find some other way to kind of break through, whether it's teching up to hive tech or finding an opening with these roach rumbais.
I suppose he's getting to hive tech for Broodlords. I may be wrong, but I think that's the goal. And right now, this Roach Ravager army can still get some serious damage. Blocking his base from getting up is already a very good thing, but Solar is a little bit overextending, I think. These tanks are getting so much damage. 25 Roaches in the production top. Basically, at this stage, Solar is just trading army supply. He's got basically almost all of the Elbats, Hellions, and Wintermines. But Corruptors didn't get a very good fight. This base needed to be cancelled from becoming a planetary. But yeah, you can see tanks getting so much damage done. And these Corruptors running away from battlecruisers. It's not what you want to see coming from the Zerg player. These Corruptors are very bruised. And now they start fighting again against the battlecruisers while Roach and Ravagers are trying to catch tanks on siege. This fight is going in favor of Solar, but it's not gonna go that way for long. Tanks are falling left and right, but they're already free on the high ground, ready to shoot Solar away. He won the battle, but he didn't win the war.
Yeah, all the
are incoming.
Yeah, all the Corruptors were killed during that fight, so at the end, he didn't have any answers for those battlecruisers, which means he had to retreat, go back and make some additional Corruptors to help at least deal with that battlecruisers, and then maybe potentially get on top of those tanks. We do see that there is a few Zerglings added into the composition to at least kind of tank some of the splash damage, but here we go. He's gonna go ahead and dive on top of these tanks. All those tanks get cleaned up, and all that's left is a Thor and a few battlecruisers.
This is a very, very good fight for Solar. It is still gonna be very hard to break through. There are Ravagers ready to take down the Battle Cruisers, but not enough Corruptors. This Planetary Fortress is the next big step for Solar to taking an advantage, but he fails to actually kill the Battle Cruisers. Way to get at this defense. The Planetary Fortress actually clamping up 15 kills. Nothing to shroud upon, but to frown upon. But you know what? 16 SCVs have been killed. Dream completely unable to get a good supply up and coming. And the most important thing is that Solar is ready to get to Hive Tech, ready to get to Broodlords. Dream cannot keep up with the production Solar is running right now, and he's really not at on the same page as far as economy goes. And Solar is relentlessly going forward again. This looks so convincing from Solar. This is a bad fight though. These tanks are very good position. The Raptors trying to bring the fight to the Battle Cruisers. One of them is gonna barely survive against them, and it's only those tanks standing right now. 3 of them, only 2, and it's going very, very bad for Dream. Not another fight at the Planetary Fortress means that Solar will break through over here. He's on the rally point of his opponent, doubling him in supply, but the game is not over yet. Solar needs to double it down with his reinforcements. There are still Battle Cruisers repaired and ready to bring the fight to the Roaches and Corruptors. Green pulling up the boys into the fight as well. 11 SCVs have been going down. So many tanks have died this game. I cannot even count them. And Battle Cruisers are again the only thing left between Solar and victory.
Yeah, I think...
Creep has come at the doorstep of Dream. Now Queens can bring the fight to this Creep.
Yeah, that Creep has been extending this whole time. But Roach is here. Another Roach. Get another tank. And oh man, Dream is just bleeding for resources as well as unit production. He doesn't have a bank at all. He is down 100 overall supply. And Solar, he is just not letting up. He is continuously putting on the aggression.
And here he comes again. Solar, more Roaches, more Ravagers is the name of his game. He doesn't want to let Dream get any leverage over here. Battle Cruisers, only 2 of them are left standing, but they are still the heroes of this game. 30 kills on one, 23 on the other, but it's not gonna be enough. Solar gets game number 3. And that's what I wanted to see from him. Convincing victory and a convincing strike upon strike upon strike on Dream. Finally cutting down. And it's gonna be a 3-2 advantage coming from the third player.
Yeah, well done. I think the strong points of Solar's game is in the mid game. And we do know how he loves his Roach play. He's so good at it. And, you know, he showed it that game. And it was really important because he attacked right when Dream was establishing his 4th base. And we know how mech can get scary after they establish their 4th base. After their 4th and 5th and 6th base, all that gas going to the really strong, durable mech and efficient mech army, that was not something that Solar wanted to deal with. So he decided to attack right when he was getting that 4th base and made sure to try to at least end the game there, and he did.
Yeah, that's a very, very convincing victory. But it's not gonna be enough here. There's plenty more to be played. Plenty more that those 2 players have to do. Win the series. And talking about the devil, in the top left-hand corner is the blue Zerg player playing for KaiZ Gaming. 2 games away from claiming the series. It is Solar.
And spawning here at the bottom right is the red Terran player from Bravestar Gaming, looking to tie up the series. It is a Dream.
Right, we're on Romanticide, one of the most interesting maps out of the bunch of the new pool. And I really have to say Solar is kind of adapting more and more to this series and to this map pool. sending this drone out here to scout in various locations. Not gonna find any proxy, but Romanticide is a fairly big map and especially large one, so I kind of agree with him with his choice to try to find some proxies with the drone.
Yeah, unfortunately for him, Dream is not going for that proxy. He's gonna go ahead and just go open up with a standard Arax into gas into command center. This is one of the maps that I feel is pretty unique, only because there's a lot of blockage. Usually in other maps there's blockage of, you know, with rocks and stuff, but this one actually includes mineral patches, so you can't even use your army to destroy it. You gotta actually send
Mine down, yeah.
yeah, you gotta send some workers who mined it. But I mean, how common is that? That rarely ever happens at all.
Yeah, this map shares a lot with Thunderbird in a way. It really reminds me of that map. But Thunderbird had this unique thing that there were these two big plateaus on the center of the map, so controlling the high ground was the most important thing. On this map is just a ton of choke points, and controlling them is the most important thing here. So once it gets into the mid game, as the Zerg player really want to have a lot of vision, creep spread is especially important here, and oh, that's a good kill coming from Solar on the Reaper. While Dream really wants to have a fairly mobile army, I don't see him going back.
Now he's gone for battlecruiser opening these few times. I think twice in the series so far.
I think 3 times.
3 times? Okay, yeah. So he's been going for battlecruisers pretty often, more than usual compared to other Terrans. I'm wondering if he's going to go ahead and go for that same build again. Although he is adding a really quick third command center, so we might see him just rely on these Hellions to at least put on some harass across the map while biding his time to establish and stabilize that third base.
This could very well be a Banshee play. Yeah, it is a Banshee play. So that's a very early third command center, yes, but Solar is one of those players that you cannot really leave unchecked. He's one of those Zerg players who will just grow at an incredible pace. They will just get an insane economy so quick into the game if you don't get any damage. And Dream is looking exactly for that. He's looking for a Solar that feels safe, but he actually isn't. There's a lair incoming, very early lair. That's a good call from Solar. Ready to get some overseers if the time comes. But now it's time to defend against the aliens.
Oh, no Overlord here at the further right side. So I think Solar should throw down at least a spotter Ling or at least an Overlord to spot any incoming Hellion run-bys, because even though he defended this with fairly minimal losses, later in the game, there's always certainly a possibility.
Yeah, and we all know how it ends when there's those ZvTs in which the Zerg player continuously loses a base due to poor scouting. So you definitely do not want that to happen. But for now, that's a good amount of aliens trying to keep quick spread at bay. And there are Spore Coolers and Queens and the Lair ready to defend against the Banshee. So, Spire as well. I have to say, it looks like Solar is doing all the best game decisions and is off to a good start.
Solar actually throwing down that Ling at the third base to block it, so a little bit of a missed mining time for Dream, and as you can see in the income graph here, is all Solar. After the past few couple of minutes, it has all been Dream instead, so nice little kind of trick there. But Overlord, or at least, or rather Overseer here for Solar, we'll dive in here, scout what Dream is going to go for. We'll see at least 3 Iraq, so he should be fairly certain that it's going to be a tank and marine push and composition army. But in the meantime, this Banshee did get 2 drones, so not too significant here.
Yeah, I actually think Dream messed it up a little bit, losing one of these Banshees, diving way too deep into the main base of Romanticide. And we talked about this a lot. The main base of Romanticide is very, very big, and it's completely covered in creep. So those queens didn't break a sweat chasing down those Banshees, and actually the one that survived, barely survived against the onslaught that was going on here. Getting 2 kills for a Banshee, definitely not what Dream wanted, but the scouting was good, catching the fire, catching the lair, everything should point towards a convincing hold against the Mutas.
Solar smartly kind of attacking and hitting at this rock, knowing that if a tank gets sieged up behind that, it can serve a small bit of advantage for the Terran. So just want to make sure, you know, clear out all the rocks, just get as much surface area open available to get on top of the army. But Dream already makes his ways across the map, and he will force Solar to cancel the hatchery.
Failing speed almost done. Now that it is done, it's gonna be a little bit harder for Dream to actually have any control against the army of the third player. Meanwhile, Mutas are destroying the economy of Dream. So Dream really needs to find a lot of damage. He got control of one of the choke points, but now over here, it's not that easy. This ramp is fairly big, and there's 2 points from which the army of Solar could come. The Mutas are still destroying everything, and now the Painlings are fast enough here on creep to destroy everything that's left. Dream can only tap out. Solar gets the match point, and this was another perfect game coming from the third player.
Yeah, for sure.
Really enjoyed this game from him.
All right, so he's going to be match points away. But before we get into that, just want to go ahead and talk, or at least get into our sponsors, because events like these would not be possible without the support of our lovely sponsors. So while we get this next game set up, I'm going to go ahead and show you a few messages from and about our sponsors. So don't go anywhere, guys. We'll be right back.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me take a moment here to talk to you about our sponsor, Carhartt. Carhartt makes workwear for the everyday working people. They are cut to give you a full range of motion and flexibility, as you can see. Not only do they have stain breaker technology to release stains, but they also have force technology to wick away any sweat and dry fast. The durability of these heavy-duty clothes are a staple of the Carhartt brand, so you know they can last through the toughest of environments. Be sure to check out our Matcherino events page for their sponsor quest, or visit them anytime at carhartt.com. Now back to the games.
Looking for a snack to munch on in between your games, or just whenever you're hungry? Well, look no further, because I've got the perfect snack for you. Strive Beef Biltong. It's 100% beef, with no sugar, MSG, gluten, nitrates, or preservatives. They're all natural and all flavorful. Furthermore, they're always air dried to lock in the flavor and nutrients. And Biltong has more protein in every bite than jerky. So what are you waiting for? Head on over to strive.com right now and grab yourself some delicious Strive Beef Biltong. Now let's get back to some StarCraft.
All right, we're back, and we are about to head into our next game, which will be on Oxide LE.
Yep. 7th map of the series, the one that could end it all. Solar leading 4-2, and it's looking very, very strong right now.
Bitterwood is like, these scripted roles, I would burst out laughing if I had to do one.
Yeah,
hey.
Tell me about it.
All right.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just hyping up the introduction.
Right.
Bottom left-hand corner, Oxide. seventh set, this best of 9 series. Here's the leading player, ready to take it all off here at match point. The blue Zerg for KaiZ Gaming. It is Solar.
And spawning here at the top right, representing Bravestar Gaming, hailing from Korea. Make some noise for Dream. Conti says I gotta tell you, I have a dream. I have a dream that one day all our Protoss brothers and sisters, all our Zerg friends and all our Terrans can get together and watch a StarCraft game and not balance wine.
You know what? That's a very, very good dream, but
but not realistic, right?
the last person who I think tried to do something to the likes of it to make peace between such angry factions didn't really end up well. Of course, I'm talking about the poor Zeratul, who had a very, very bad ending, dying to his best friend. That's not the best way to go, right? Like, yeah. And he was the one to try to unite Zerg, Terran, and Protoss. And you know what he got? Balance wine.
Oh,
That's
man.
where we end. Dark Templars, OP. Like, when behind, Dark Shrine has become way, way too much of a meme to actually be true again. But you know what? No Protoss in this game. And I guess that's good for the Terrans. You know? They're the kings of balance whining. Am I right, Ed?
Oh man, yeah, I think you triggered some people here. Maybe, might have.
Like, I'm the most evil Zerg that ever existed, so that's my job.
Dr. Evil here.
Yeah. You want a Nidus Worm? I'm your man.
Oh man.
I don't think I've ever heard anyone say, you know what, I would like to get a Nidus this game. Yeah, let's get Nidus. Did you ever heard anyone say that? I wish I get a Nidus Worm in my base this time.
Nope, never heard anyone say it.
Yeah.
Maybe as a
some
joke
people-
though. Maybe as a joke, like a dirty joke.
maybe.
But
Like, you know that there are some players who say, yeah, I think I can deal with Cannon Rushes. Like, I would like my opponent to go for a Cannon Rush. I think I can deal with that easily. Never even remotely heard anyone say the same about Nidus Worm. Maybe TY, but it doesn't really stand among us humans. It's just like ascending to godhood, casting and winning in the same tournament. Like, that's the icing of the cake.
alright, once again here though, Dream just sticking with that battlecruiser opening for some reason. It's like maybe he's like testing this build, just seeing if it could work, if it's viable or not. But he hasn't done quite well thus far, or at least I mean, him being down 2-4, you would imagine he would change it up a bit, but maybe go for a proxy once again. But nope, he is going back to that battlecruiser opening. We'll see if it turns out better this time around.
I have to say, Solar has adapted to this series perfectly. He has made really an effort to change his playstyle according to what Dream has been doing so far, and he did a great job in the last 3 games, in the last 2 games, more likely. And right now, Dream, I like how he prepares for series. I like how he tries to exploit his opponent's weaknesses, but I think he's overstepping a little bit over here. We will see if he will bring a fight to Solar that will actually make his opponent shiver a little bit. Here, these Battlecruiser getting this TP over here is a very good move, actually, from Dream. Getting 2 queens basically for free, but there are already a bunch of roaches ready to shoo away the aliens. It's just the Battlecruiser up over here. There are 5 queens ready to bring the fight to him.
Oh man, Solar just holding this off pretty decently. He's got his queen positioned correctly at the right place to deal with that battlecruiser. Then also moving his roaches to make sure those Hellion does not run by and get a lot of drones. Solar looking to be in a pretty great position. He's up with 69 workers to 53, pretty much 20 workers at this point.
Yeah, and you know what? Dream is going for mech again. This could be a replay of game number 5 on Lightshade. But Oxide is another very short map, very small one. And I like that Dream is trying to go for this kind of build over here on this map. But I have to say Solar is taking like minimum losses. Right now he loses a bit too many Zerglings. But it's not gonna be the end of the world in the end. I mean, he lost a bunch of roaches and 3 queens. Like, he took some loss. But he's still very healthy in economy. Alright, things are starting to get rough over here. One of the queens falls. The Battlecruiser needs to teleport back home. And the aliens are starting to bring a fight to everything right now. Roaches trying to take them away from this base. Keep them at bay while the queens doing their best against this Battlecruiser. One of them is actually being targeted. He will fall down. That's another queen killed by Dream. The kills on these queens are clamping up a bit too far, I'd say. Another queen has spawned at this third base location. And it's time for the roaches to stay outside of the creep and tell these aliens, get away from here. And you know what? Battlecruiser is getting way too many kills right now.
Yeah, but Solar, he is popping out those Corruptors, and those Corruptors finally goes on to the field to help defend. Will force Dream to teleport back. And
look at the workers right now. Dream did a great job pumping up workers like no tomorrow, getting a worker advantage in this matchup at 8 minutes. That's something very few players can do. Oh, this Battlecruiser is way too far forward. It will survive. But in the end, the most important thing for Solar right now is to get a big army and start dealing damage, just as he did in game number 5. Because Dream, like, once a player goes mech in this matchup, the roles kind of invert each other. Like, Solar cannot keep Dream unchecked. He doesn't want Dream to get a 4th base. If Dream gets a 4th base, this game starts to get very rough. Okay, that's big engagement coming over here. That's not enough tanks, I feel, for Dream to deal with everything that Solar is sending through. That's a bunch of Ravagers trying to bring it up the fight to these tanks. The Hellbats are gonna fall one after the other, as well as a couple of the tanks. And now the Battlecruisers are trying to fight the Corruptors. Not a very good scenario like this. Yamato Cannon is of course gonna help a lot. 7 SCVs have fallen down for Dream, and now Ravagers are trying to kill also a couple tanks before going down. These Corruptors have chased down the Battlecruisers back into the main base of Dream, and I think one of them has fallen. Oh, actually not. Ooh, that was a good save from Dream, who's actually right now on 4 cruisers ready to defend against these 12 SCVs have fallen down for the Terran player though, and these Corruptors cannot really bring the fight. It looks like Dream had a solid hold, even though I still gotta say, wasn't that an early GG timing?
yeah, I mean the supply was still even, but I mean you gotta remember that Solar's army was primarily in roaches, and we know how roaches kind of inflate the supply. If you can't break the Terran as the game goes on, it gets significantly harder, especially since I don't think Solar had any backup plan after that. You didn't have any fluent transition to maybe Lurker Tech or maybe Broodlords. He was mainly committed into that Roach Ravager type push. and it didn't really break Dream. He still had his battle cruisers alive. He still had his a couple of tanks in the back, so it would have been difficult for him to continue on. So I could understand the GG, but also I could understand how one can see it as slightly premature.
We had a similar game on Lightshade, game number 5. Solar got way more damage in his earlier push, but I think he was actually also a little bit too overeager to get damage over here. You kind of have to deal some damage, but it wasn't like an immediate threat to him. Like, he had a good defense, he could just get a 4th, and he decided to go basically all in, and it didn't really pay off. Like, we were talking about Dream kind of doing the same thing all over again, but it looks like Solar didn't really take the right measures against it this time.
Yeah, I mean that map was pretty large, so once after the first big attack, Solar was trying to, make make his reinforcements, but by the time the reinforcements got across the map, the tanks popped out and they were able to siege up, and at that point Solar couldn't really kind of go through. So just maybe it's a wrong map to go for that type of timing attack.
Or maybe just a good setup from Dream. We have to give it also to him for being able to deal damage, get a good hold, and it was a fairly good game from Dream, I have to admit.
Yeah, definitely.
Very well played from him. Alright. We're on Jagannatha for set number 8 of this best of 9 series. In the top right hand corner, the Blizzard is spawning still at match point, and it's one to take it home. Playing for Kaisi Gaming, it is Solar.
And spawning here at the bottom left. Looking to tie up the series and push it to a decisive Game 9. He's gonna need all your energy and your cheers, guys. From Brave Star Gaming, it is a dream.
It's quite a tall order for a Terran player to get any aggressive early game here on Jagannatha. It's such a huge rush distance, such a long map, while being not very large. So it means that any kind of push is very easy to scout and needs to walk a very long way before getting onto the Zerg side of the map. We see the Reaper going out to get some scouting information, but I'm expecting a fairly macro game here.
Yeah, I feel like we tend to see some nice little macro games on this map specifically.
Yeah, maybe. It looks like this Reaper already forcing a tiny bit of APM from Solar. Was getting his fair base in the linear path over the left side of the map. And Dream is getting some good scouting. He's gonna go for his 1-1-1. And I'm actually expecting him to go for a Medivac rather than some kind of Banshee or Battlecruiser play.
By the way, you know the ramp area? It's like, and below that there's like some, like almost what seems like, cannons or something, like mini cannons.
Oh, wait, where?
Like on the ramp area, there's like a bunch of circles.
Oh yeah, right. What are those?
Those seems like cannons, but I'm not sure. Pretty weird layout there.
Like cannons, like they look like they use the same technology, but they are different things.
Yeah, they look similar but also different. So I'm not sure.
They look like containers in some way.
What do they contain, you think? Psi
Cannons.
energy? Oh, okay, cannons. Yeah, that's right.
Like cannons transporter, maybe. I don't know. I have no clue. Like, these could also be like some of these pools in which Immortals and Dragoons are made.
Dragoons.
Have you seen that alien?
Which one?
Like, there was an alien that on the Reaper cliff, it kind of drove on the high ground.
Huh.
That looks like a big bug.
Oh, I might have to replay that later on just to check it out. What you meant?
Well, that was very weird. Like, the alien just drove on the high ground. It just straight up went into the high ground. It was very weird. But I hope we will never see that again. Oh, Reaper trying to get some vision up and down of that cliff. But overall, Dream went again for a battlecruiser build with some Yamato cannon incoming as well, and also a fur base as early as possible. But Solar, early lair, early spore crawlers, many queens out, and this time he didn't overmake roaches to deal with the aliens. He's up there with mostly Zerglings, and he's making just the right amount of roaches to keep them at bay. The battlecruiser teleports into the main. He sees the lair has already been made, with already 5 drones and counting are falling down. These queens have a very strong way of keeping this battlecruiser at bay, but they won't get a kill. The main base of this base is fairly little, and you know what? 6 kills. I'll take those if I was Dream.
Yeah, and he can just go ahead and send his battlecruiser back home and get it repaired and go for another 6 drones or more. But he's gonna have to contend with this small roach counterattack, actually mixing with a lot of speedlings here. This might be a way for Solar to get some nice, decent damage done. But with the battlecruisers arriving, might be able to defend this.
Yeah, it's gonna be some damage, but not really too much to call this worth. I feel like Solar kind of overextended here. Like, you know what? On such large maps, once you commit into something, you kind of lose those units forever. Unless you're Terran and you can just teleport battlecruisers back home, fly away. Helens are very fast, or maybe Protoss and just recall stuff, or maybe put down an Nidus. If you're a Zer player and send roaches and lings out, you're sending them for good. They're not gonna come back. And Solar lost a fairly important part of his army. And now he needs to deal with many aliens, he needs to deal with 2 battlecruisers, but he did one good thing. He bought himself enough time for the Corruptors to be out, and Corruptors are gonna be so clutch into holding against those battlecruisers.
A little bit of a small link run by will force the Terran back at home, but it looks like things are stabilizing. There are Corruptors out on the field though, so these battlecruisers will have to be careful not to overextend.
Yamato cannon and tactical jump away. It looks like Solar is trying to find some ways to deal with the battlecruisers. Corruptors still chasing down one of those. Oh, maybe tactical jump is not available. Yes, it is. Battlecruiser will just jump away into safety. It's 3 of them out right now, so a 4th one will be coming out shortly. Solar needs a little bit more Corruptors than he anticipated.
Yeah, let's see how many Corruptors are on the field. 6 Corruptors versus 3 battlecruisers. He's definitely going to need a bit more than that.
The Yamato cannon is keeping the count also very low, and Dream chipping away damage after damage is really trying to set up for a good mid-game scenario, while Solar is actually setting up again for a big attack that needs to deal damage, needs to keep Dream from getting too much of an economy lead, or rather too much of an army lead mostly. And that's a very hard army to kill if he gets some maxed out, so Solar needs to get some damage now.
Could you read in the chat saying mech on this map? Let's see if it works on Jagannatha. And yeah, I also was wondering the same thing. We see Dream going for that mech once again. Now, last time it didn't. I mean, I guess the first time it didn't quite work out. The last time it did work out. This time around, let's see who it will favor. But oh, Battlecruiser just barely teleporting away here.
Solar, what a play on those cruisers, forcing them away. Yamato cannon from one of them didn't even start it, if I saw correctly. And now this is a big Zerg army. You know what, Battlecruisers trying to dive here in the top right will buy some time for Dream. But these Ravagers can start slowly chipping away at the Terran army. Oh, that's a good, not a good spot. Those tanks will start shooting away at the Ravagers. And goodbye, Sensor Tower. Dream still looking strong in his defense. Solar still trying to find a way to break through. Those are +1 roaches, not the highest damage units in the game, for sure. But Solar is getting a good economy, insanely good crit spread, and these Corruptors can bring up a fight. More Vials rain down on top of the missile turret, bringing it down. But Dream is not losing army. Is catching up with Solar, and Roaches are not exactly the most supply efficient units in the game.
Yeah, he is maxed out with Roaches and Ravagers. He's gonna at some point needs to trade them out to get those higher tiered units. He did get his Infestation Pit, so we should see a hive relatively soon. We definitely want to see that, because he is not gonna win against this crazy mech army of a ball from Dream if just a head straight up engagement. Because, you know, as good as Roaches and Ravagers are, with that many tanks, we're talking about 12 tanks and 4 battlecruisers. That is pretty scary.
+1, also very strong upgrade on mech units, not as strong as +2. +2 is where stuff tend to get very bad for the Zerg player. This is not an engagement Solar can win. He's gonna lose a bunch of his army basically for nothing. But these Ravagers survive, and they're the most important part of the army, and they start to pile down stuff. Too many tanks, too good of an upgrade, and Ravagers start just falling one after the other. Oh, that's some good kills. One of the cruisers falls down. Oh, this command center barely survives. Corruptors doing their best. They're not gonna get a second kill on that cruiser. But you know what? Solar found some damage. That's all it mattered for him. Hive not coming yet, but there's +2 air attack, and he's maxed out again. He starts to attack again. Right here, there's a planetary fortress over here. That's not the best possible place to attack, but keeping the tank count low is everything that matters to Solar. He's gonna trade so much army for this. That's not what he wanted. He's gonna be maxing out immediately after with 25 more roaches incoming, and this looks a lot like a replay of game number 5.
Yeah, I'm a little afraid here for Solar. He seems like he's relying heavily on Roaches and Ravagers, and it's getting to the point where it's starting to get into the late game, and we know how, you know, they don't really scale as well. I mean, they're great in the mid game, don't get me wrong, but in the late game, that's not what you want in your army composition.
Upgrades don't do much for those units. That means they just do not go even against late game units from the Terran player, especially since Dream was so clean on his build order. +3/+3. He's almost halfway through. That means that he's fighting against a +2/+2 mech army. That's such an important stage of the upgrades. These tanks hit like a truck right now. They almost two-shot the Ravager. And here comes another big push from Solar, but you cannot break that position. Not without Broodlords. Hive is almost done, and that's exactly what Solar is looking for right now.
Yeah, I think we've all experienced this point in the game where it gets to the point where the mech army is just so difficult to break, and we see more additional command centers being plotted down. Some of them will of course turn into orbitals, but also some of them will be turning into planetaries. And the more planetaries, the more blockage in the map, but in front of the tanks, the more difficult it gets for the Roaches and Ravagers to get on top of those tanks. So yeah, we do see now finally some Vipers, some Infestor tech being made here for Solar, and that is definitely going to be crucial in making sure he goes. Once the engagement happens, that those spells will turn the favorite for the Zerg player.
With a greater sparring coming, once an abduct takes place, those Broodlords can destroy things so fast. So overall, good game decision over here by Solar again, but the game has significantly slowed down. Solar is taking multiple bases here in the bottom right and in the top left hand corner. So it looks like Solar is taking full control of the map. Creep spread is all over the place, and that's gonna be a very key thing to maintain. Like, losing this base over here was bound to happen anytime soon, but you do not want to lose more than that. You want to keep control of the middle ground of these map. Spine crawlers are gonna help against these alien run by, but Solar making 9 Broodlords and 3 Infestors and Neural Parasite right now will mean that he's starting to look to be the defensive player at this stage. Oh, Ravagers trying to trade down with tanks. That's a beautiful trade. Biles raining down from the sky on top of these tanks, keeping their count even lower. Solar saves multiple of those Ravagers, and he can go dive down there again to get even more Biles. No Queen. Okay. Goodbye.
Oh man, the Broodlords are out. We have 9 of them making its way across the map. Solar is going to go ahead and potentially trade out these the few roaches and ravagers that he has left, which is a pretty smart decision. He needs to free up some supply to potentially get more Vipers or maybe Infestors. Maybe later on, or actually get some more Broodlords as well. So, I mean, these Ravagers, I don't think they're not going to get too much value as the game progresses.
You know what? I do like how he's just not throwing them away. He's trying to get some meaningful trades. He's trying to kill stuff with them, not just suicide them into the main army of Dream. As you can see, he's trying to keep them alive for a little while. He does not want to lose them without them doing anything. He wants to keep some kind of leverage, some kind of advantage, and he's trying to trade those Biles for tanks, missile turrets, sensor towers, everything that's gas heavy. Those Ravagers will find a way to break. Here comes more Biles, keeping down the missile turret number. And I do like how he's playing this. He's just not throwing units away.
Yeah, I think he doesn't have like quite the large amount of bank. Yes, he has a decent bank, but not like the one that you can just like, just selfishly trade or trade it very inefficiently. But anyway, here we go. Oh my God, those blinding clouds!
It's some beautiful fight from Solar. These Broodlords destroying the Tors, even though that's not what's supposed to happen. Those blinding clouds were very much everything Solar needed. And just look at the bank right now. Dream at 2k minerals in the bank. Right now, yes, 400. That's some devastating damage coming from Solar. Already an insanely good trade from the Zerg player. And did Vipers die to that?
I believe so. Well, actually, nope, never mind. He did not lose any Vipers there.
Yeah, that's a very, very beautiful trade from Solar. Here comes another sensor tower in a very good spot. I think Solar kind of wants to kill that. Here comes the Biles. Yeah, the sensor tower will go down. It's a good kill from the Zerg player. Right now, keeping these bottom right base covered with creep is also very important. Keeping Dream from taking another base is gonna be a very, very important thing. And it's gonna be up to these Infestors to get into a good spot and get some good new rolls. Maybe on the cruisers, maybe on the Tors, whatever is gonna be helpful. I doubt Dream will break through this phase over here. He's gonna take the Spine Crawlers, yes, but he doesn't really want to dive too forward. That's come a neural and a teleport over here, right in the middle of these Corruptors. Goodbye, Cruiser. That's gonna be an easy kill secured from Solar. And it's not gonna be the biggest of damage being dealt, but it's gonna teach Dream a lesson. Do not overstep on creep.
Yeah, if you overstep on creep, I'm gonna turn your battle cruiser against you, force him to have a identity crisis of some sort. But you know what, Dream, he's like, I don't care. I got so much tank, I got so much doors. Bring it on.
Oh, that's not a good spot to fight. Blinding Clouds are gonna be diving down on top of these stores. Of course, the inhibitors, the acceleration zone is gonna be helping those to pack away from these Blinding Clouds. The fight is going a little bit all over the place, but it looks like Solar is gonna bring a very good fight to these stores. More Neuros are bound to happen if these infestors get close enough. Here they come. Neuroparasite on top of the doors. And here comes the complete devastation from Solar. That's gonna be a very, very rough fight from both players. But you know what? Solar is coming out on top. He keeps his key units alive. And he can go down on top of these Planetary Fortress if he decides to do so. 7 more Broodlords incoming? Alright, Solar. Have your way. No more doors are up. This looks like a GG, my friend. Solar trying to break through these bases. That was a very, very important base for Dream. Not one he wanted to lose these early into the game. Well, not really early into the game. But battlecruisers are up. There are a bunch of Liberators to keep the Infestors at bay. But Infestors are not even longer the most important thing. Vipers are the most important thing right now. And these cruisers are not gonna get anywhere close to them.
Man, I just can't help but think of that crazy engagement. I think inadvertently that acceleration zone actually worked against Dream. I mean, he had to fight under it because he wanted to have access and a fire on that, that hatchery, but the broodlings from those broodlords, I think actually got on top of the army a bit quicker because of that acceleration zone. So I think a good note for all the Terran players: do not fight against broodlords under that acceleration zone, because those broodlings will get on top of your army in an instant.
Yeah, it was looking so clean. I was thinking, okay, he's on the acceleration zone, he can dodge these blinding clouds, but in the end, Solar, clean play surrounding those stores, getting so many kills. And he mostly lost Corruptors for that. A couple Broodlords have fallen down, but it wasn't the most devastating damage. Here, like, Solar is losing 15 drones and he's not even replacing them. Why would he replace them? He's just making more army, more Broodlords, more Infestors, more Corruptors, even more Vipers. The army of Solar is so scary right now.
Yeah, a lot of spellcasters, and all those spellcasters pretty much full on those energies, so he has a lot of spells to cast. And here we go, Brood Lords once again getting those broodlings out. This time around there are a quite number of doors.
Yeah, there is a little number of doors, not little, very significant, I want to say, not little, number of doors ready to bring the fight to Dream, but to Solar. But these Vipers have been proven so strong so far. Blinding Clouds getting in a very good spot. These doors are not doing anything at all. Corruptors diving top of everything, and here comes the Neuroparasite. That was the perfect Zerg fight. And in the end, Broodlords are just destroying everything left. Liberators don't kill stuff fast enough. Corruptors are gonna deal with the last few remnants of this Terran army. And Broodlords killing Thors is definitely not what a Terran player wants to see. Solar almost maxed out again. 7 more Broodlords incoming. 8 Corruptors in the production tab, as well as the replacement of those Infestors. But that fight was a sight for sore eyes.
Oh yeah, that was so disgusting. And I bet the best part is, all those weakened and damaged Corruptors, just turn them into Broodlords and make your Broodlords army a bit larger, a bit stronger. And right now, Dream, I don't know what Dream can do. I mean, he is trying to get any bases up and running, but Ling's gonna go ahead and get on top of the mining on the right side of
Glance Lings.
yeah.
Those are the highest DPS units in the game after Locust. So yeah, they kill stuff very fast.
Definitely. The question is, does Dream have any answers for these Broodlords?
I don't think he has the production, neither the economy to do that. And Broodlords right now are just killing Thors. That's a disaster for the Devon player.
Yeah, we have 19 Broodlords versus 11 Thors. That is a 2-to-1, almost a 2-to-1 ratio right there.
Look at the blinding clouds after everything has been surrounded. These guys are right now fighting on the blinding clouds, fighting against the Terran army. That's another perfect engagement from Solar.